Good morning, I'm John, KF7DVJ, and today we're going to do a little bit more experimentation with the QRP. Recently purchased an FT-817 built by Yaesu, which is a 5-power HF, VHF, and UHF radio. I've been kind of stymied by it. I've only had one contact on digital, well, 5 contacts on digital during the 2010 ARRL field day. So today I'm up in the hills over my home in Utah, and got a new antenna, balun, and a tuner, and we're ready to see what's going to happen. Before we get started, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an idea of where we are. So these are the hills of the Wasatch Front, overlooking Farmington, Utah, and Centerville, Utah. In the distance is Antelope Island, which is part of the Oquirrh Mountain Range. And way in the distance over here, I'll zoom in on it so you can see how hard it is to see, is the southeastern tip of the Great Salt Lake. Today we're operating at about, I'd estimate 5,500 feet, and treading very carefully, because if you notice, it's a long ways down. I have a vertical antenna, but hiking here in Utah means the best you get is the scrub oak, and I'm not really sure how well the vertical is going to work coming out of the scrub oak against the hill. So first experiment is to throw it over the edge here and just see what happens with it dangling down. Yeah, there'll be some grounding issues and things like that, but you know, nothing's perfect in this world, and so we're just going to learn to deal with it. Okay, so this part might take a little bit, and we'll do some editing along the way. First thing we have is the mic for the Yaesu 817. This is the standard MH31 mic. I have a one big punch installed from W4RT. Been having some problems with that, so I'm waiting for the manufacturer to get back to me on it. And then, of course, the 817 itself. And in the 817, I have a W4RT long life battery installed. So 2,700 milliamp hours rather than the factory 1,800 milliamp hours. Packet reference for the 817 comes in very handy. On the back, I've listed all of the frequencies out for QRP operation, and then a couple of other frequencies that might be helpful. Small logbook, go home and enter my logs on my computer, and then a Sharpie, little Sharpie pen. That's it for the easy stuff. Move into the backpack and start pulling some bigger stuff out. Okay, in this bag we have a bunch of stuff. First of all, a pair of Yaesu headphones and a whole bunch of little adapters to go from coax to SMA, coax to BNC, and BNC to BNC, and a few other things. You'll see how we use those in a moment. This is my kit-built Electcraft T1 tuner. I built this myself. It's the first thing I've ever built. It was a lot of fun. Great project. This tuner is awesome little device. And then related to that is a small kit-built Electcraft B2 tuner, BL2, I'm sorry. Wideband HF balun. Not a tuner, it's a balun. Then I have a couple of different purpose-built wire antennas. This one right here is a half-wave antenna cut for 20 meters, and its corresponding quarter wave counterpoint poise. And I also have the same half wave antenna for 40 meters and its corresponding counterpoint. We'll start with a smaller antenna today. And I have a couple of pieces of coax. We'll be using the smaller one for the wire antennas today. And finally, some parachute cord to secure everything. And then, last but definitely not least, a small folding backpacking chair. So that's it for the backpack. Notice I'm sweating. It was a bit of a hike up here. Whew, okay. So the first thing we do to set this up is need a BNC to BNC adapter to hook the balun up to the tuner. And this is a little bit weak here. It's had me concerned for a while. I just want to get a very small piece of coax with two BNC connectors on the end so I don't have this stiff connection. It just sort of worries me. It's not very stable. And then you've also probably noticed that I already have a BNC connector on the back of this coax. This coax is dedicated to the 817. So, by the way, this antenna is just a dual band VHF HF antenna, or VHF UHF antenna. Just a small little whip made by Comet. Okay, so we're going to start with a smaller antenna. I'm going to use the larger antenna just as a little platform to support the 817 so it's not scraped up on the rocks. And so we will connect transceiver up. I notice I'm sweating. It was a bit of a hike up here. Whew, okay. So the first thing we do to set this up is need a BNC to BNC adapter to hook the balun up to the tuner. And this is a little bit weak here. It's had me concerned for a while. I just want to get a very small piece of coax with two BNC connectors on the end so I don't have this stiff connection. It just sort of worries me. It's not very stable. And then you've also probably noticed that I already have a BNC connector on the back of this coax. This coax is dedicated to the 817. So, by the way, this antenna is just a dual band VHF HF antenna, or VHF UHF antenna. Just a small little whip made by Comet. Okay, so we're going to start with a smaller antenna. I'm going to use the larger antenna just as a little platform to support the 817 so it's not scraped up on the rocks. And so we will connect transceiver up. Now we just got to get this 20-meter antenna and the counterpoise laid out. One of the tricks that I've learned is a big piece of rope really helps a lot on, or a big rock helps a lot on this again. Okay, that worked perfectly. The rock came off just like I was hoping. So now I'm going to take the end of the antenna and connect it to the end of the balun. I've gone back and forth on what approach to take with this, but I've ended up with ring terminals on the end of the antenna so it's not likely to slip out in a condition like this. With the ring antenna and this screwed on, as long as I keep the balun well connected, secured somewhere with a rope, even in windy weather I should be fine. Prevailing opinion is you want to keep the counterpoise somewhat elevated. Where I'm operating, that's not really much of an option. What's going on here? Okay, so a quick summary of what we've got going here. We've got the 20-meter half-wave antenna over the edge. We've got the counterpoise in place, and they're all hooked up to the balun, which is hooked to the tuner, which is hooked to the radio. I'll give you a quick look at that. So here's the rig with the tuner and the balun, and there is the 20-meter wire going over the edge. And I've got the counterpoise just kind of elevated in some sagebrush, and we should be ready to get going.